Hi there and welcome. This is part one of a two-part publication to help you deliver project success. I sincerely hope that this helps you in your future, and I also hope that you enjoy. So let's start. This video is for both beginners and experienced project managers. It shows the step-by-step actions needed for planning, executing and reporting to deliver projects on time and within budget. And just as important, projects as they originally were required and specified. The video is intentionally succinct, avoiding many low-level operational details, but nonetheless is complete at the high level, which is where we start. Now, planning for a project, believe it or not, is as simple as A, B, C, and I will elaborate on that shortly. And the video is unashamedly a recipe and prescription for success, not an airy-fairy set of principles. So with that, we'll start. Okay, before we start proper, it's really worth looking at the simply appalling statistics related to project failure. You can read the full horror on the internet, of course. I just show 4 commentaries, findings, and have highlighted punchlines, as it were. They're in bold and underlined. I spend just a moment so that you can have a quick squiz, and then we'll start. Anyway, you can always pause this to share in wonder and amazement at the appalling state of project management right across the planet. It's amazing. This failure is the main driver for me to do this video. The statistics have got worse over the past 5-10 years, and they're not getting any better. And the messages are getting weaker from the international standards, more wishy-washy, not prescriptive, but based on a whole set of reasonable principles, but not very helpful at the end of the day. So this is why I do this video now. Projects really start because the business wants to make some sort of change somewhere. Could be in the supplier, could be in the process, could be in outputs, the customer, anything, a change. And usually a substantial change, because trivial changes can often occur without a project as such. So really we've got a project here, so we have a substantial change being processed, or being proposed and requested of senior management. A so-called business case document, in whatever form, paper, electronic, doesn't matter. A business case document is created that identifies the goals of the proposed change, together with the benefits that would flow and the costs to make this all happen. There'll be more, but broadly that's it. Let's do this because it's a jolly good idea. Okay, this then is submitted to the appropriate management. In the event of approval being given, monies are then set aside for the project budget. Now we have a formal project and the team is quickly formed with a project manager to lead everything to plan and deliver the goals exactly as specified, on time and within budget. Actually, easier said than done, which is why I'm doing this video right now. Okay, the very first thing to be done is to scope exactly the work, the amount of work for the project. That is, to define what on earth needs to be done by anyone to deliver the stated goal or goals. The technique for doing this is to identify the areas or the categories of work, and then the specific list of actions needed for each category so identified. Now, the resulting diagram is known as a work breakdown structure, or WBS, and is a requirement and recommendation by both the PMI PMBOK and Prince 2 international standards. Strangely enough, this very foundation for exact, precise scope and costs is ignored by most project managers and their managers. No idea why. I've asked for 100 years, I've not got an answer. But anyway, you are welcome to fact check my assertion and ask your favourite project manager, where's your WBS? Anyway, let's move on. The reason usually given for not following both logic and the standards is that they use the project management software to do this for them. Don't follow that route, please. I promise. Creating the WBS is one of the best investments you can possibly make to avoid project failure. You can check and validate the work with technical, business and management equally well when you show them the WBS. The diagram here shows 17 activities that are needed, and you can see their distribution across the high level example for 5 for design and so on. This is only an example. So this step A of the planning ABC account for everything, absolutely everything. This typically takes only 3 to 5 days, albeit with a number of different people helping you and working together. But that's not long for such a fundamental cornerstone. Important footnote here, the activity number becomes an integral part of the activity name. For example, number 1, pour concrete, 7, install windows, 11, fix roof tiles, etc. From the WBS right through the life of the project, the number and the name goes together as if they were one. Numbering makes things so much easier in every aspect of planning, production and reporting. Please trust me on this one. So we now know accurately what needs to be done. The next thing is to work out the logical sequences and dependencies between all of the activities. For example, installing doors and windows generally require a wall to be finished beforehand. Always, actually. That was just a little joke on my behalf. Also, you can install the plumbing concurrently with installing the power cabling, and so on. I think you get the picture, I'm sure. Once again, this network or PERT chart is a requirement or recommendation of both the international standards, but project managers almost never ever do it. By the way, PERT means Program Evaluation and Review Technique. Check out the internet, it's all there. Very, very interesting. Anyway, when PMs are asked why they don't do a PERT diagram, the retort is that the project management software can do it. And whilst that is true, it is also true that no one in the company, apart from the project manager, can easily interpret the software's status reports. Whilst everybody from the board down can easily understand and evaluate logical relationships from a PERT diagram chart and recommend improvements. This step is the B of the ABC, that is, bind all the activities together, and this normally takes only 1 to 3 days. It's not a big task, but it's a fundamentally important task. Okay, so now we know what activities we need to do and in which order. We now need to find and secure the skills required to first of all estimate the work effort required to produce each of the activities, and secondly to actually do the work required whenever it's time to actually do it, and we don't know that yet. So for every activity in the WBS, remember a completed activity produces a product, we need to identify the quality required for each product. Who does the activity that produces the product, how long they will take doing that work, the day's duration, and of course the cost. Later, when the product is actually completed and approved, it will be filed somewhere or other, maybe in the electronic filing system, maybe in the warehouse, anywhere at all. And that location will be logged in the product register, so anyone can see it and check up on it later on. This step then is the C of the ABC of planning, that is costing. So having done the A, account for everything, B, binding everything together, and C, costing, we are now ready to enter all our data into the project management software that will calculate for us the start and end dates for every activity. We now feed all the information from B and C into the project management software. We enter all the activities and their dependencies, sequences, etc. from the PERT network chart. Then we enter the names of the people who will undertake each of the activities, together with the day's duration they say they needed to produce each product. The software will then calculate for us when each activity is scheduled to start and end, and who will be doing the work. We have at this stage a manufacturing production schedule. There is just one more thing we need to do before we start up the factory production, as it were. Okay folks, that's it for part 1. Please look for part 2, where the action really happens.